So I get a notification from my Twitter, an official post from Diablo, and it says, boom, Diablo 2 Resurrected patch 2.4 is going to go live on Tuesday. And I have not looked over these patch notes at all yet, so this is going to be my first reaction and kind of what I'm thinking about it here. But as we scroll down, you see right here, starting Tuesday, January 25th, PC only. That is kind of obvious, I guess, because it would be too hard to implement this on the consoles and stuff. PC is just so much easier to do this kind of stuff as. But implemented starting Tuesday the 25th, so that's exciting. I don't see a time here yet, but there we have an actual date, so that's in a few days from now. So this will be our community's first opportunity to experience these changes and share their feedback from their playthroughs from the very beginning. We acknowledge that our collaboration with our community helps us craft a better game for all. We hope you participate in the PTR and continue to share your feedback. With your help, we can continue the legacy of Diablo 2 Resurrected and ARPGs we all cherish. So that's pretty cool here. As we move down here, we got developer update stream. You can watch it below. So I think this was the old one that Mr. Llama did with the developers from before. I'm going to go ahead and open this in a new... I'm going to go ahead and open this up real quick, actually, and just make sure, yeah, that's the one that we already watched. So there's no need to go back to that one. But as we move down here, let's go ahead and PTR focuses on... focus and details. We're ecstatic to make balance changes that will improve the viability of each class while retaining the class fantasy of our favorite heroes. It has been more than 11 years since we've made any changes like this to the game. So when we start making balance adjustments, we want to focus on expanding more skill builds, variety, and adding more viable possibilities with playing each class. So that's kind of what they had said before. You know, they want people to be able to use the blade skills for assassins, the, you know, kick skills, all the martial arts and stuff. They want people to be able to do all those different things that people just completely steered away from. I guess maybe they're going to make Poison Dagger Necro a thing or something. So we'll see how much they go there. So we're going to move down here and not necessarily read every sentence, but let's look at what they got here. So new class balance changes. To ensure that the most significant class changes receive an ample amount of attention, we'd love your feedback on changes affecting our 7 unique classes. So that's very important right here. Any of the changes, I'm not 100% sure how they're going to get all the feedback. I know, trust me, I'll be making a video on the feedback about this kind of stuff, because this is the thing that I am the most, I don't know, trepidatious about, the most concerned about what they're going to do. I don't really, in my personal opinion, you're taking something that's great that I love for years and years and years, and you're going to change it. I mean, when you know, don't let perfect be the enemy of absolutely amazing and great. And that's kind of what it sounds like here, but I'm going to be open-minded. I'm not just going to trash everything automatically, so I'm not going there. But this is the one thing I'm worried about, is how they're going to quote-unquote balance stuff. You know, if they end up with another firewall fiasco, you know, hopefully that doesn't end up being a permanent type of thing where they mess up a bunch of different skills to where they just all wreck everything. So, new Rune Words. We encourage you to experience the new Rune Words that can be created and inserted into correlating socketed gear. Please share your feedback on these items. So once again, they want feedback on the new Rune Words. Once you actually get your hands on them, use them on the different characters that they're going to provide for us. Then you can kind of get an idea of that. And here's interesting. No one's really gotten a whole lot on this yet right here. New Harodrick cube recipes. So new Harodrick cube recipes have been implemented to complement set items. We encourage you to craft these and share your feedback, especially in tandem with new improvements being made to set items that are generally underused by players. It is true that set items are essentially unused unless it's the Tal Rasha's Sorceress. Immortal Kings is sort of usable, I suppose, but not particularly. So they're going to be doing some stuff to set items, and also there's the new cube recipes. I believe it was that you could upgrade set items and you could socket set items. Can't quote me on that. It's hard for me to remember offhand here, and it doesn't say exactly what those were. I'm going to have to double check and look that up, but I believe it was that you could upgrade set items, which would make a lot of things better. Things like, we'll say, I think it was the Arctic set that has like 270% enhanced defense on quilted armor or something. That's how it gets its defense up on that set item instead of adding a base amount. So you could upgrade that to a Dust Shroud. And if it had, I don't remember the exact numbers here. I'm kind of spitballing from what I'm trying to remember, because who really uses the Arctic furs? But if one of them had a huge enhanced damage like that and you upgraded it all the way to the elite base, you're ending up with over 1,000 defense. So that is a thing. I'll have to look and see, and everybody will have to experiment to see what that exactly is going to do, what could really be bumped up to being usable from them type of set items. So then number 4 section here, and much more. So mercenary changes, set item bonuses changes. So that's how they're boosting up. You're going to get extra bonuses, or just like better bonuses and stuff from different complete set items or partial sets. New level 85 area changes, item tooltip changes, and other changes to gameplay have been implemented for testing in this PTR. For impressions and insights on how these changes affect your experience would be very much appreciated. So I mean, they do say that over and over again, that they want to hear everybody's feedback, so that's good. It depends how much of whose feedback they're taking, because the game's incredibly easy, really. You can just teleport through the whole thing with a sorceress, even with other characters. If, you know, there's certain skills you play, but if you play those skills, you can just walk right through the entire game. So hopefully they don't go too easy. They don't have the power creep to where all of a sudden, in no time, the game's not going to be fun, because there's going to be absolutely no challenge for anybody. So I'm hoping they go the right direction with this. It'll have to be wait and see, you know. So down here, patch notes, another section here. So below you'll find patch notes for the upcoming update for Diablo 2 Resurrected, patch 2.4 PTR. Rank ladder play will not be included in the PTR, as the primary focus of this test will be trailing the new balance changes. So new Rune Words, new Harodrick cubes, set item changes, and other gameplay. Yep, so that makes sense here. And wow, this looks like a huge thing. I didn't notice all of this stuff. They got everything down here. Wow, this is a lot. So all the class changes here. We're looking at Amazon. Wow, they got everything listed. So let's go ahead and skim over this. Javelin and spear skills. So this skill is now uninterruptible. So that's like smite. Attack rating modification has been removed. Now the skill always hits. So impale is smite now. So now you can be making an uber Amazon that's pow, 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 stab, stab, stab with impale. It's unblockable. It's uninterruptible. And this skill now slows target by a percentage for a duration. So, wow, that's interesting. That's crazy. Attack speed increased by 100%. They doubled fence speed. They reduced the rollback frame value between each attack. Okay, so it's faster, and I believe this was because I think you would get stuck in the fend animation while you're getting hit, and that, I believe this is a fix to that, so you wouldn't just be fend hitting at all the monsters around you, getting chopped down and not being able to move. I believe that's what that is fixing right there. So Power Strike removes synergies from Lightning Fury, a Lightning Bolt synergy increased. So it took off... So Power Strike doesn't get a boost from Lightning Fury to kind of like separate those two from each other. So, but it gets 4% more from all of Lightning Bolt, Crit Strike, and Charge Strike. So kind of pulling away Lightning Fury so that it does not help out these other skills. Remove synergy from Lightning Fury, remove synergy from Lightning Fury. So they're nerfing the Lightning Fury Javelin, which they said they weren't going to do. So that's kind of disappointing, I suppose, because they're not literally nerfing Lightning Fury, but if they take Lightning Fury and it doesn't help out the other skills, I mean, I guess if Lightning Fury still gets the synergies from those, but they don't get synergies from it, it doesn't really matter, because you always go Power Strike, Lightning Strike, Charge Strike, you know, Lightning Fury. So, so there's 3 there, there's 4 there, there's 4 there. You're actually getting a bigger boost. So all of these skills will be more powerful than they are right now, because if they all get 10, like if this gets 10%, if Charge Strike gets 10% damage from everything from Lightning Fury, but they're removing Lightning Fury from it, but it gets +4 from everything else, that's 12. So you're actually getting 2 extra percents per level for these, which is kind of bananas. So this is what that's why one of the reasons I'm going to go Javelin here. I was going to go Lightning Fury, as long as Lightning Fury doesn't say they took any synergies away from it. Unless, okay, so no, they didn't. So Lightning Fury Javazan is going to be even more powerful now than it was before. So there's that, I guess. We'll move down Poison Javelin. This skill has been damage scaling at higher levels, has been slightly adjusted. I'm assuming maybe lowering the amount of time the poison damage goes over. Casting delays will no longer share its cooldown with other skills. That's good. That was always super annoying. Tooltips update now display casting delays. That's a good idea right there. You know, having the cast delays on there. That is, I do like that. I do like that. Poison duration is now fixed at 3 seconds. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I wonder, wow. It was, because Plague Javelin was it 20 seconds? And now it's 3? I wonder if it does the same amount of damage, but in 3 seconds. That's going to be crazy. But, wow. Okay, Poison Javelin synergies increased from 10 to 14, so it's going to deal even more damage. I'm curious about that. I'm going to try that out on the PTR for sure. For sure. I can't remember if this one was the one that was 6 seconds or the one that was 20. Maybe that was Poison Jav that was 20. I don't know. But anyways, casting delay reduced from 4 seconds to 1 second. So you can throw 4 times as many javelins for that. That's going to help out there. Casting delay will no longer share with other skills. And then tooltip thing once again. Yep, that's it. Awesome. Okay. Wow. There's a lot to this. This is going to be a long video, but we're going to hit everything here. So, inner sight radius increased by 35%. Whatever. Slow missile. Missiles now scale flat base. Blah 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 blah. I don't really feel that that's anything that interesting. Casting delay reduced from 6 seconds to 0.6 seconds. That's good. Now you can actually use Valkyrie, so that's very good there. I do like that. That was another super annoying thing. How much casting delay was there? It was crazy. Casting delay will no longer share its cooldown with other skills. That's awesome. At 0.6, it almost doesn't matter, half a second, but that's cool that it also doesn't share with that. So you could do something else, cast inner sight or something. Who knows what else you do with that. And the tooltip obviously says casting dodge. This animation can now be interrupted and will no longer lock in Amazon for performing other actions. So there you go. That's always good. Same thing with this, the exact same thing. So supposedly then dodge and avoid are usable. So that's good. That's good. Down to the bow skills. Mana cost per level reduced from half to a quarter per level. Okay. So I know Freezing Arrow, that was a prohibitive factor for Freezing Arrow. It costs like 40 mana to, to use it or whatever. I guess not that much. Maybe I'm exaggerating here, but you get what I'm saying. So Magic Arrow increases the amount of physical damage converted to magic for the base level per level. So that's very, very good as well. Now, Guided Arrow damage bonus per level increased from 5% to 7%. So they're just bumping this stuff up there. Remove the 25% weapon damage reduction from the skill from Strafe. Okay, so Strafe, I think Strafe is going to be a good, because Strafe was used for certain builds before, and they're removing the 25% weapon damage reduction from it. So there you go. Now it also gives an increased attack rating and 30% baseline and 9% per level. Okay, so that's good also. So obviously more attack rating is going to help you out there too. Mana cost no longer increases per level on Fire Arrow. Okay, that's kind of a Fire Arrow. It's kind of a lower level thing, so that's pretty cool, I think. Exploding Arrow damage scaling increased by about 50%. Wow, so Exploding Arrow got a big boost, 50% on the higher levels approximately. That's not an exact number they're giving you there, but that's cool. Fire Arrow synergies increased a little bit, and the mana cost reduced by half. Immolation Arrow, average fire damage per second scaling increased by 100%. So they doubled Immolation Arrow per second damage. That's a big boost to that. Casting delay will no longer share cooldown with skills that have casting delays. Tooltips tell you the cooldown, the casting delay, and mana cost is cut in half once again for Immolation Arrow. So the fire arrows there got quite a big boost for sure. So the Amazon's getting significantly more powerful. I was scooting down to the assassin, excuse me. Martial Arts, Fist of Heavens. The attack rating bonus increased from 15 to 25, 7% to 10%. Okay. I don't really know a whole lot about martial arts here, so we're just going to look at it real quick. Essentially, attack rating and damage is getting boosts, So attack rating boosted, all these skills. Fist of Heavens, Claw of Thunder, Blades, Tiger Strike, Cobra Strike. They all say the exact same thing. Attack rating bumped up from 15 to 25. And 7 to 10% per level. So, but I don't know why it says attack rating bonuses from 15 to 25 and 7 to 10. I think that's supposed to be in damage bonus from to 7 to 10. I'm not 100% sure because, like I said, I never really do martial art assassins here. So the Dragon Talon, these are the finishers, right? So now consumes only one of each martial arts charge when cast. So I did know that they said they were going to do that a lot, only using one charge at a time, which I believe that was similar to what Project Diablo 2 did. So it's a good idea. Now always hits the target only if the assassin has any martial arts charges. So if you use a charge, you always hit. So I mean, that's a good change there too, I think. So the same thing here, consumes one charge, always hits target once again, but the damage bonus per level increased from 5 to 15. So there's a good bump on Dragon Claws per increased damage there. Dragon Tail, same stuff, and a 10 to 20% damage bonus. Dragon Flight, same thing. Casting delay removed. Okay, I didn't know that, but because I guess I don't have to say it again. I've never been a big martial art assassin player, but and a damage bonus increase from 25 to 35. Now on the Shadow Disciplines, tooltip updated to show the physical damage resistant reduction. That was something that most people didn't really know because, well, a lot of people did, I should say, but it was not listed anywhere. That actually Fade, even though it helps out your resistances, it also has a physical damage reduction when you have Fade on. So now it will actually be listed in there to help out people, you know, who didn't get the information some other way. Venom got a buff duration scaling. So there's that. Is matching burst of speed and fade. Okay, all right. Shadow Warrior, casting delay reduced down to almost nothing once again there. Casting delays will no longer share cooldowns. Tooltips will say the casting delays. So Shadow Warrior, that's taking those massive casting delays away. Really makes these actually usable now. So with any of these like minions that are out there just as a meat shield, you know, that's pretty much what I'm talking about when I say them. Whether it's Valkyrie, Shadow Warrior here, or the Shadow Master down here, the same thing down to 0.6. The same thing, cooldowns, the same stuff, getting rid of the cooldown stuff on most things. It looks like what it mainly is. So Shockwave removes synergy from Death Sentry. I'm not sure exactly. Hopefully they know what they're doing with that, but with all these removing synergies, because they'll have to boost up other things. So now it gets a synergy from Charge Bolt Sentry, 6% extra on top of what it was before, and Lightning Sentry, 6% extra. Casting delays and tooltip casting delay thing, the same thing that it says on almost all the ones that have a casting delay. So they got rid of the synergy from Death Sentry and they increased them, the ones on Charge Bolt Sentry and Lightning Sentry. The only thing, it ends up being essentially exactly the same, because why would you ever not have all your points into Death Sentry and then you always have all your points into Lightning Sentry too? This would just help out early on if you were going with Shockweb, because you never use Shockweb really a lot late. I've seen, you know, people scattering amongst the whole, you know, Chaos Sanctuary or something, but really it's Lightning Sentry and Death Sentry. So it just seems like a little bit of a change that I don't really know if it's really going to do anything. So Charge Bolt Sentry gets rid of Death Sentry, but then it gets Fire Blast synergy from 6 to 9 and Lightning Sentry from 6 to 9. Yeah, Charge Bolt Sentry, I don't know that anyone really used that, especially later games. So Lightning Sentry gets rid of a Death Sentry. So Death Sentry synergy just completely goes away from everything. It looks like it's gone from Fire Blast too. So Shockwave synergy increased and Charge Bolt increased. So and this one went up by 6 and this one went up by 6. If it had the synergy would be 12 12 12 if I remember correctly. I could be wrong because I'm not an avid assassin player in general, but if it was 12 12 12, now they added 6 and 6, so it's going to make people to try to put points into these other lightning elemental sentries instead of, you know, getting the synergy from Death Sentry. So, I mean, I don't think it's really going to change anything late game. So, it's good and bad, I guess. I'm not really sure what to say about it, to be honest. But we'll move down to Fire Blast here. Gets rid of Death Sentry. You know, obviously Shockwave synergy increased. Bolt Sentry increased. Wake of Fire increased. Lightning Sentry increased. Wow, I didn't realize that Fire Blast had so many synergies. So it's got 6 synergies on Fire Blast somehow. Or it's got 5 now, I mean. But they went from 9 to 11, 9 to 11, 9 to 11, 9 to 11. So that's interesting. Wake of Inferno, Fire Blast Synergy went from 8 to 10, and Wake of Inferno went from 8 to 10. So Wake of Fire is getting a boost. I don't know, because Wake of Fire is really good until like Nightmare-ish area, middle Nightmare or something like that. And then you can't really use it after that because it just, the upper end damage doesn't scale. But maybe with these, maybe it will. Here we got Wake of Inferno. Removes the Death Sentry synergy like usual here. And both of these Fire Blast and Wake of Fire got boosted up to 18. One from 10 and one from 7. So I'm not too familiar with Wake of Inferno. But maybe with that, because that's a 11% increase from Wake of Fire synergy and 10% or 8% from, you know, Fire Blast synergy. So that's quite a bit. So maybe Wake of Inferno, depending how the damage percentage goes up and if they did anything with the scaling and stuff, maybe that could be something right there. That's interesting to me. Blade Sentinel, here's some more stuff. The cooldown lowered, the casting delay lowered. Tooltip updated, the same stuff as always. Missile speed increased by 20%. Weapon damage went from 37 to 75. That's a huge bump right there too. Massive bump. Blade Fury synergy adds 10% per damage, and Blade Shield synergy adds 10% as well. So these are synergies that they straight up added right here. Added 2 synergies to Blade Sentinel. Kind of interesting. So maybe some people, just for fun here in the PTR, you can go Blades Assassin, max out Blade Sentinel, Fury, and Shield, and then you can get the synergies and see how that does. That's kind of interesting. Right here, it synergizes with the one above and the one below here, Blade Sentinel and Blade Shield. And then down here, I'm guessing they did the same thing. You have all the Blade stuff synergizes together, but for Blade Shield, the baseline value increased from 20 to 120. So that's very good. A good boost there. That makes at least a reason to use it, because if it runs out in 20 seconds, wow, that's rough. That's rough. So duration scaling per level increased from 5% to 12%, matching burst of speed and fade. So there's, once again, they boosted up that weapon damage, which I already said, and it's got the synergies. Tooltips relay those synergies as well. Let's move down to the Barbarian here. Just Howl, the radius is now on display. Battle Cry, the radius is now on display. War Cry damage increased by about 30%. All right. So those War Cry, those singer barbs where they would shout everything down and actually kill stuff, those are more powerful now. Maybe the dual whiz spike Barbarian, you know, dealing damage or whatever. Or actually you could go dual, what do you call them? The 2 wands that have 1 to skills with 50% faster cast rate. Rock some of those. You get even more damage out of that and stuff like that, or 2 Hotos or something to get even more damage. So Warcry could be a fun build to do there, because it's actually funny. Barbarian, their frame rate for cast rate is actually the same as Sorceress, which is kind of interesting. So you can actually teleport around real fast if you get an Enigma or something like that to move around, and you can shout real fast. So shout's duration baseline increased from 20 to 30, matching battle orders, and the tooltip update, battle order tooltip update, battle command tooltip update, and the duration baseline from 5 to 30. So that's cool. I never even realized it was only 5, to be honest, because you just shout it and then you go do battle orders and then you move on and don't really think about it again. So Grimward, the radius baseline value increased. Now also, so Grimward slows and increases damage taken for nearby enemies. I wonder how much that actually is. So you could drop down, if you're like the meat shield barbarian, you go Grimward, and that makes everything attack you instead of your enemies, and they will take more damage from you as well, and they'll be slowed down. So that's pretty interesting. That's almost like a Decrepify on monsters. Kind of, sort of, a little bit different, but Fine Potion has a synergy now. I mean, nobody's going to use Fine Potion, but that Grimward thing, actually, I never thought that they could do something to Grimward to make it seem interesting, but that's pretty interesting to me, I'm going to be honest. So combat masteries, throwing mastery has a chance to pierce. So I wonder if that's going to be like a flat chance, like throw mastery will go up, like if you can get it up to like 70% or something, throw on a razor tail for 100% chance to pierce. So let's go ahead and read the developer comments on this one. Actually, we added pierce chance to throwing mastery so the barbarian can better handle groups of enemies. So yeah, I'm assuming if you throw on different things, there's that one new rune word that has pierce on it. There is the razor tail that has pierce on it and things like that that can help you out. So maybe you could even get 100% chance to pierce on the throw barb there. The combat skills, the leap, you know, baseline minimum distance increase, speed of leap sped up by 75%. So you'll be jumping instead of, it'll just be, and you'll just fly over there. So that makes sense. The knockback radius is now put in there. So the same thing down here, 75% faster on leap attack. The damage, 200% from 100%. Attack rating 50 to 100. Attack rating per level 15% more, or up to 20% more now. Leap synergy increased 10 to 15%. So I don't know if that would really make leap attack any used, but we'll see. So Berserk Shout synergy replaced with Battle Order synergy. Okay, so now you can use Berserk, and then you're gonna max out Battle Orders no matter what. So that will synergize with Berserk, which Berserk was already sick before for the pit neck, or the pit barb, pit zerker. So that is going to be even more powerful. Wow, they're making the best magic finder in the entire game more powerful, essentially, because Shout was like, just would that increase your defense, but Berserk would make it so that you could get hit and your defense would be nothing while you're swinging. So it was kind of like counterintuitive. But now you're going to increase your life and Berserk, so you no longer have to put points, like max out Shout, so you can max out something else. Well, whether, you know, who knows what you're going to max out. Now, we'd have to look at it there, but double throw added damage bonus, but with 16% baseline and 8% damage increase per level. Okay, so double throw. If you're making a throw barb, you're going to probably be using double throw, so that's a little bit of bonuses there. Frenzy increased stamina synergy. So, wow, so Frenzy's getting an increased stamina synergy. So you're going to have to just waste points into increased stamina if you want to make a Frenzy barb now. That's quite a nerf on the Frenzy barb, to be honest. I don't remember what the synergies were offhand. I would have to look at it again. But having to waste 20 points on increased stamina instead of putting them into something that could help you is devastating. So there's a really long thing here on all the barb stuff. I'm not going to read all that. We're going to move on to Druid here. Now that we're down to the Druid here, we got Firestorm, gets a casting delay. Oh yeah, doesn't share the cooldown. Tooltip is now casting delay set in there. So there's Firestorm, not a whole lot changed, just that you don't get the cooldown over top of stuff. Molten Boulder is going to be an interesting one here. Missile speed increased by, so it moves 100%. It moves twice as fast, the Molten Boulder. That's pretty cool. The range decreased by 100%. The overall length remains the same. Missile range decreases, but the overall travel length remains the same. Those are like, I don't understand what that means. Maybe I'm just slow in the brain. I am Sweet Phil after all, but so the range is decreased by 100%. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense in my brain. Go ahead down in the comments and let me know why my brain can't compute why those things are not making sense to me. But casting delay reduced down to just 1 second. The delay doesn't go over other skills. So now you can cast a boulder and then cast fissure. Cast a boulder, cast fissure, or something like, just those are examples, boulder and something else if you wanted to do that. So that's pretty cool. Tooltip, casting delays and volcano synergy is actually increased. Okay, so molten boulder and volcano could be used together there. Fissures, casting delay doesn't go over other cooldowns, and it's displayed in the tooltip now, so nothing changed much for fissure. Fissure was always pretty good, lower levels anyways. Molten boulder synergy increased from 12 to 16, so volcano's getting a boost. The tooltip now says actually how long the volcano will be active. Casting delay no longer, blah, blah, blah. And the same thing with the casting tooltip. So, all right, volcano's getting a little boost. And also you can cast it molten boulder, volcano, molten boulder, volcano. So you can go back and forth on that stuff. So that's pretty cool. Now that the casting delays no longer share across multiple skills. So Armageddon, the casting delay has been removed completely for Armageddon. Okay, so now that's interesting. Oh, Armageddon, that's just the stuff raining down, right? So that kind of makes sense. Like, why does it matter if you cast it more than one time? So the physical damage significantly increased. It's not an amount, but that's cool that it's got an increase on that. Makes it a little better. The same thing, it now displays that, and the volcano synergy changed to increase physical damage instead of fire, and it went from 14 to 18. All right, interesting. Arctic Blast, I mean, Nobody's going to use this no matter what, I would imagine, but base damage and level scaling increased by 100%. Apparently it had an incorrect damage calculation in the past. I mean, I can't imagine anyone's going to be using Arctic Blast, so we'll skip over that. Cyclone Armor can now be cast while in... Okay, that's good. You don't have to come out of Werebear or Werewolf form in order to cast your Cyclone Armor and then jump back. You can cast... That's one of the things you can cast now when you are in Werebear and Were form. But can you cast Teleport in Werebear and Werewolf form? So Twister, damage increased by 50% on Twister. And it's got the Arctic Black synergy added. 20% stun duration. Okay. So you get 20% stun duration increase on Twister per synergy level. Okay. Wow. Okay, that could... I don't know how long the time's going to be, but boy, 20%, 20%, 20%. So you're getting 100% per 5 levels, up to 400%. I mean, you could be stunning people for like 20 seconds. I don't know. It probably doesn't go that high, but that's just interesting. Casting delay removed completely from Hurricane. You can now cast Hurricane not while you're in Werewolf and Werebear form. All right. Cool. This is a really long one. We're not going to read the full developer comments on that one right now, but shape-shifting. So there's another tooltip for casting delays. Rabies. Attack rating bonus increase from 7 to 10. Poison Creeper synergy from 18 to 20, so a little boost there to Rabies. Fury gets an attack rating bonus from 7 to 10. So that's that'll help out a little bit. So Werebear, the tool, that's nothing. Nothing happened to Werebear pretty much. Maul gets a damage bonus from 20 to 30, attack rating bonus from 20 to 40, and 10 to 15 per level. Okay, so that's a pretty sizable attack rating bonus there. But tooltip stun values will now properly cap at 10 seconds. Okay, so which follows the core game's stun duration cap. Okay, interesting. That's one thing I never really even knew that there was a cap, or that this was supposed to have the same cap of the stun max duration. But now that is a thing there on Maul. Shockwave gets a synergy from Maul of 5 extra percents, so a little boost to Shockwave. And Fireclaw damage. Fireclaw gets damage increased by 75%. That's a lot of percents to Fireclaw. And Fireclaw druids were not used a lot, but it was kind of a niche, like cool, kind of crazy build that people would do, and it was usable when you had really good gear. But that's getting boosted up 75%. So, like, is that going to mean endgame Fireclaw druids? Not to mention that new Druid Rune Word. And that's not for druids, but you can put it in Druid helms, get 3 to fire skills, get 3 to Fireclaw. Yeah, wow, that's kind of interesting. Minus, like, what was it, 15 to enemy fire resistance. It removes these synergies. So it removed the synergies, but boosts the regular damage. So I guess not after I read the next two, I probably should have waited. But so we'll see how that ends up coming out for the balancing of that. Coming down to the summoning, Oak Sage, the min life and max life values are averaged to always be the same, accurate to the tooltips. Okay. So that's good. Oh yeah, that's the life of the actual Oak Sage itself, because that was never, a lot of the minions and stuff never had any life totals on what they said they were. You just had no idea, so sorry about my green screen getting a little funky back here when I lift my arms. Get a little shadow on it. Physical damage resistant in normal. Okay, so it has a it's going to have a physical damage resistant from 100 to 25. Is that supposed to be 0? I'm confused at why it's 100 to 25. That must be a typo or something, but all right, I'm not sure exactly because that's got to be a typo, and then it doesn't really make sense. So I'll just move on past that one for now. So Heart of the Wolverine, and these are a lot of those little summony things that just float around and help you out. So the max life is in the tooltips. The same thing here, 0 to 25, 100. Maybe it's not, or they just copied and pasted it and had it wrong. But why would it be reduced from, increased from? Okay, that's interesting. So why did they have physical resistant in Nightmare was 100%, but it was 0 in normal and in Hell? That's weird. I wonder if there was a typo here or something too, but that might just be something I just never knew. Could be. So Spirit Barbs here, same exact stuff essentially on Spirit Barbs as well. So, but Aura no longer returns a percentage of damage when hit. Okay. So it's just a lot of the same stuff with a little change in the middle there. Ravens. The number of hits per Raven reduced from 12 to 5 and no longer increases per level. Okay, Druid is another one of those that I haven't played a ton, so I'm not 100% sure on the number of hits per Raven reduced. So that doesn't, I mean, it just doesn't sound good. I'm not a big Raven player, but attack rating bonuses per level from 15% to 30%, modified AI, so they attack more often, damage levels increased, it's got a synergy added, synergy added, synergy added. All these synergies right here are all other summons. So this is kind of like, you know, they're trying to boost the summon druid and put all these summons together. They're all, I'm assuming they're all going to end up boosting each other. So Raven's getting a lot of boosts down here at the bottom here, AI, damage scaling, and 3 synergies of 12% apiece. So Spirit Wolf here, the life will be displayed accurately in the tooltips. Attacks now deal cold damage, which is interesting. They'll chill out the stuff that they attack. Damage leveling increased by 10%. Base life increased by about 80%. Life now increases by 10% per level. And then the updated display each synergy in the bonus values in the tooltips. Okay, so I don't know what those synergies actually are, because once again, wolves, you never really used them, so I can't remember offhand. So move down to Direwolf here, same thing as the last one. Damage scaling increased by 30%, base life increased by 90%. Life synergy reduced from 25 to 15. This is because the base life was increased, and Spirit Wolf and Grizzly now gain life per level, okay? And updated to the tooltips, the same deal on that one. So down here at the Grizzly, this is one that people actually used quite a bit. So the same thing as before at number 1 here. I see other summons that I just mentioned. Base life increased by 15%, just, you know, in general, 15% bump there. Life now increases 10% per level. So the bear is getting even tankier. Wow. Okay. So the Grizzly is just going to be the ultimate undying, untouchable tank in Diablo 2. It already kind of was before from what I've seen and witnessed, and I did play a little bit of Druid in my day. So Poison Creeper, poison damage level scaling significantly increased, life increased by 100%, and you get a 10% per level from rabies now. So a little boost to Poison Creeper. Carrion Vine, life recovery has been reworked to be 1% healing per level instead of using a diminishing calculation ranging from 3 to 12. Yeah, that's Carrion Vine I never really use, so I don't really know a whole bunch how that's going to really help it out. Solar Creeper, mana recovery has been reworked to be 3% mana baseline. So the same deal as for the last one. Instead of having a diminishing calculation return, it'll just be reworked to be 3% baseline with a 1% per level boost there. So instead of having some weird, it sounds like a weird diminishing return calculation thing, they're just making it a flat number. So it's a little more just easier for people to understand. These full developer comments, once again, I'm not going to read over all that, but for the summoning skills, summoning Necromancer is one of my favorite things to play recently. So we're going to take a look at that right now. Now for the Ray Skeleton, percentage HP per level increased from 7 to 10, so the skeletons are getting even stronger. They already were like darn near invincible, but they're getting even stronger. Poison total damage scaling increased by about 750%. Oh, these are skeleton mages. Forgive me, skeleton mages. But wow, the poison damage is getting a 750% boost, so I guess they did like nothing before. Poison duration no longer scales and now lasts 4 seconds. Okay, that's a massive boost. Maybe it'll actually do something now. So cold damage gets increased by 50%, lightning damage increased by just 5%. Okay. And now the tooltips display their life. So they did say they wanted to make the skeleton mages actually usable. Perhaps this will be doing that. Blood Golem now gains max life per level. Very good. Damage scaling per level also. Okay, Iron Golem. Thorns no longer returns a percentage of damage when hit. Now Thorns will deal a flat amount of damage when the auras affect targets are attacked. Okay. So Fire Golem, Holy Fire level aura per level increase from 1 to 2. So it goes up 2 levels per level instead of 1. Okay. So the Fire Golem wasn't generally used a lot, so maybe that will help out just ever so slightly on that one. Down to Poison and Bone Skills. And I did notice they did not make any changes to the regular skeletons. the regular skeletons or the revives or anything like that. I wish it would have said right here, revives. AI changed so that the monsters don't get stuck on top of each other. That would have been nice, but I don't see that here. There is a long list here, but if there was something in there, they would have mentioned it. So poison and bone skills. Bone armor, damage absorbed per level increased from 10 to 15. Wow, so bone armor is getting a boost here. So bone armor is already used by everybody. Everybody's going to use it even more now because it's getting a 50% boost, which is pretty crazy. Bone spear is getting an increase in synergies. Everything that was 7 is now 8. So bone spear is getting a little bit of a boost. So I do know that PvPers I've talked to have said that the bone skills like bone spear is already nasty. Bone spear, bone spirit, but specifically bone spear up here getting a good boost, getting 2% boost down here on bone spirit. So both of these, we'll have to see. I mean, they weren't as good in player versus monster, but I've heard that they were just like nasty in PvP. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I'm not a PvP expert, if you ever heard me say that before. For curses, only a couple little changes here. Damage reduced now scales based on level, from just 33% to now 33% and 1% per level. Okay. Decrepify is now shows the tooltip now shows the status change. Wow, this is way longer than I thought it would be. I'm going to be honest. But we're taking a look at defensive auras now under the Paladin. We still got quite a bit to go here. Resist fire now displays the max res bonus in the tooltip, cold and lightning, because actually every 2 hard points you'd put into it, you'd get 1 max resistance for that particular resistance. So now it actually says that in the tooltips. That's all that's getting changed for defensive auras. Blessed aim now displays passive attack rating bonus on blessed aim. Alrighty. Holy fire area damage now scales based on the distance the enemy is from the caster. I think that's incredibly interesting, and I kind of like it. So the closer you are, if they're right up on you and you're swinging away, but they're right next to you, it does more damage. And as it gets further away, so you can't just like kite around the outside and have it just drop in everybody. You actually need to get up in there and fight. So that's interesting. It now deals a range from 100 to 200 based upon the distance from the caster. So that's cool. Damage scaling increased by about 90%. Resist fire synergies increased from 18 to 24. Salvation synergy also increased. So now we're down here at Holy Freeze. Area damage now scales. So once again, the same as with the Holy Fire, and Holy Shock is exactly the same too. So I'm not going to go over both of, I'm not going to read the same thing again, but Holy Shock, Holy Freeze, and Holy Fire all get that distance from the caster, gets less damage as opposed to being close up. Thorns no longer returns a percentage of damage when hit. Now the aura will deal a flat amount of damage based upon the aura's affected target are attacked. When the affected targets are attacked. Okay, so it no longer reflects the percentage of damage. Okay. Area damage now scales based on the difference of the enemy to the caster. Interesting. Area damage now scales based upon the distance of the caster. Okay, yeah. So the same deal as what the other one says. Okay, so that's the same deal as what is set up here for the Holy Freeze. I don't know why I read that funky, but now the combat skills. Sacrifice damage to self now reduced per level from 8% to 8% to 1%. Okay, so it changes as you get higher level. It deals less damage back to yourself, I assume. Conversion, max conversion chance increases from 50 to 90%. Smite now shows that the skill always hits. Okay, so if anyone didn't know that, now they can read that in the tooltips. Holy Bolt removes synergy from blessed hammers. Okay, damage increased by 50%. So you get rid of this synergy, but you just double the damage of it. Okay. Now pierces targets, undead, and allies. So now it just shoots out till the end of time, essentially, however long the distance is there anyways. Prayer synergy increased from 15 to 20. So I think that ends up being a little bit of boost there, but you don't have to, you can use it on a non-blessed hammer build, essentially. Fist of Heavens, casting delay cut in a little less than half. The casting delay no longer affects other spells and stuff. Tooltip now displays the casting. Yep, Holy Bolt now pierces all targets. So now when it comes down, it doesn't hit stuff and it just out throughout the entire screen. Improved targeting functionality. Okay. The Sorceress. This is going to be interesting because the Sorceress was one of the most played characters already. Let's see what they end up changing with this. The cold skills, Frost Nova, damage scaling increased by about 25%, and the down here at Blizzard, actually, the casting delay will no longer share its cooldown with other skills. Okay, so that makes, I mean, Blizzard a little bit better. I mean, that's kind of how it, I wonder which skills had the same casting delays. It would be Frozen Orb or something, I guess. But, because you could always drop a Blizzard and then shoot out whatever the other skill is. I can't remember offhand. It'll probably be, we'll see it down here in a second maybe. But, so casting delay no longer shares its cooldown with other skills that have casting delays. Tooltip now says the casting delay on Frozen Orb. So not any big changes here. Just get rid of the casting delay so you can use your skills actually. Frozen Armor got a boost up to of a longer duration. Shivering Armor damage level got a boost of 25% and also got the same amount of time increased duration on Shivering Armor. Chilling Armor, I'm assuming, got the same. So let's see, the damage scaling increased by 200% on Chilling Armor. So they're trying to get people to use some of the higher Shivering and Chilling Armors instead of just using Frozen Armor and calling it a day. The chill length, a bonus for level 16 plus, increased from 1 to 2 seconds, matching Shivering Armor. And then these other things down here, a couple synergies got boosted up, defensive bonus increase. So just bonuses all over the place for Chilling Armor right here. The lightning skills, so static field synergy added. So static and Nova are now synergized. So, I mean, that's going to make Nova a lot better because you can boost up static field, static, Nova if you need to, because you get that synergy and you're going to have a huge radius on static if you're really pumping points into that to bump up Nova. So that's pretty cool. Thunderstorm gets a static field synergy of 7%. So it looks like they're trying to make, you know, Nova, Thunderstorm, static right down that one side. Boom. Duration got increased a ton from 32 to 144. Duration bonus per level increased from 8 seconds per level to 24 extra seconds per level. So they're trying to make static or Thunderstorm good again, like it was back in like 2002, I suppose, when it would just like hit cows. Doosh, doosh. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but Energy Shield, once again, the mana cost tooltip, telekinesis synergy. So that's a thing, but not really a big change that's going to affect anything. There's just a bunch of increases here. Decreased mana cost, increased damage, warmth synergy increased on Inferno, but that's still, I can't imagine, you have to stand still to cast it. So the skill now casts in freeform and no longer locks onto one target at a time. Okay, but you still have to stand completely still to cast it. So that's like a no-go for me. Blaze, this is an interesting one. Let's see if what it says right here is the most interesting part they mentioned before. Now increases the damage based upon the amount, what is this? Now also increases run walk speed by 2% per level. Oh, see, I heard that backwards in the dev stream, that the damage would be increased based upon your walk run. But this is that your walk run will be increased based upon your blaze level. Now also increases run walk speed by 2% per level. So I heard that backwards. I thought you could have like, you know, 250% faster walk run and your blaze damage would be increased. So I heard that backwards before, but removes the synergy from firewall, warmth synergy increased from 4 to 6, and the damage just in general is boosted up 60%. So maybe blaze could be interesting to throw in somewhere, but so the same thing, the same casting delay stuff is the only thing they changed on firewall. Because Firewall, it still is okay. It's still an alright skill to use, but it's just not as crazy as it was right when the game came out when it was glitched and it just melted everything instantly. Same deal with Meteor, the same casting delay stuff it said before. Hydra's casting delay completely removed, so you can throw them down. Limited max number of Hydras groups to 6, so you can't just have like 75 Hydras. Getting rid of the casting delay, obviously important there. It's get a synergy from Firebolt and Fireball went from 3 to 5%. So the Hydras get a little bit of a boost. So that would be, because you could throw them down fast. You could throw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you could be shooting fireballs or something, or dropping firewalls. It synergizes with Fireball, so you'd probably want to be dropping fireballs, I suppose. But we could see how that could work. That might be an interesting one to try out in PTR. So there's all the characters. We're going to the Mercenaries, another very important thing here. We got the Act 1 Rogue here. The updated each stat skill gain and each difficulty to match so that there is no disadvantage of leveling up a hell difficulty mercenary versus a normal or nightmare one. Okay, so all those Act 1, you can get all of them in any difficulty. The Cold Arrow added also a freezing arrow onto that, and the fire arrow is a explosive arrow. Okay. So here we're going to the Desert Mercenary. Updated each stat skill gain in each health in each difficulty to match so that there is no disadvantage to leveling up. Okay. Nightmare and Hell difficulty now have all 6 different aura types available from higher menu, instead of separating them out 3 per difficulty. Normal is unchanged, so that way you can't get the cold aura in normal. Makes sense. That is I like that. You know, that's perfectly fine for me. That way you can, you know, get any mercenary you want when you're in hell, but in normal you don't want to get those most powerful auras that you don't want people to be having in normal. So specifically, they're talking about the Thorns one, the Combat Nightmare Mercenary, which it is currently here. So the Thorns aura level scaling increased and will now continue scaling up beyond the highest level threshold up to the max level. Okay, so there must have been something there with the Thorns that I wasn't even fully aware of, because really everyone uses cold in general. But now it says that there was some sort of cap, but now it goes all the way up to the highest level there. So the Act 3 one we're talking about now, update. So this is the same thing, so you can get any of them in any, so that there isn't a disadvantage to leveling up or not leveling up your mercenary from the beginning. Life scaling is actually increased 25%. The defensive baseline scaling increased by 40%, so there's just a boost to survivability in general for the Act 3 mercenary. Resistance baseline and scaling increased by 20%. Now has the highest resistance baseline compared to other mercenaries. So they boosted up the life on the Act 3, the survivability in general in the Act 3 mercenary a lot. I wish it would have said like AI improvement to stay away from monsters so you don't get chopped down instantly when you're a caster, but maybe it'll just survive better. So who knows how that's going to really work out. There's a bunch of changes to their different skills they got here. So now cast Glacial Spike more often. Glacial Spike is scaling increase, Frozen Armor scaling increase. So the cold one gets quite a bit of boost. Removed Inferno, that's good, so you don't get stuck in one spot for a long time anymore for that Act 3 mercenary. Adds Firebolt instead of Inferno, I'm assuming. Increases chance of casting Fireball. Added Enchant. Now the Iron Wolf will cast Enchant on himself, the player, and nearby allies. So he'll randomly enchant people, the fire one. That's interesting. That is interesting. So it might not be something everybody wants to use, but if you're really playing in actual parties and stuff, maybe having an enchant Act 3, you know, to help out your party, that's kind of interesting. So down here at Lightning, added Static Field, so it'll randomly cast static sometimes. Charge Bolt level scaling increase, so increased damage there. And it increases the number of times it casts Lightning. So a good boost there overall to the Act 3. We'll see what that really does. Act 5 Mercenary, I feel like, I haven't read these yet, but I feel like this is going to be good. Updated each stat. Oh yeah, it's the same thing as before. There, life baseline scaling has increased, so now it has the most life compared to other mercenaries. So that would in turn, I would assume, lead to saying it has the most survivability. So they don't have the auras, but if you're ever struggling to have your mercenary survive, it might be going to the Act 5 mercenary now. Maybe early on you go to the Act 5 mercenary and then switch to the cold aura if you want it later. Possibly. Defense baseline and scaling increased at higher levels to reduce. Was reduced. Oh, okay. Now it has the highest defense baseline compared to other mercenaries. So it has the most defense, the most life out of the mercenaries. So bash level scaling increased and will no longer be capped at level 80. Stun level scaling increased and no longer be capped at 80 also. And it does battle cry, which is super cool that it battle cries every once in a while for you. So the Act 5 Mercenary, I mean, they don't have auras, so I'm guessing, you know, the freeze aura is still going to be awesome. You can still stick Insight on your Act 2 Mercenary and Infinity on your Act 2 Mercenary. So I don't think this is going to completely change that, but it at least makes these a little bit more viable, I suppose. So down here at Rune Words. Oh, I did not know about this. Wow, Insight now can be used with bows and crossbows. So you can make an Insight bow now? Well, oh, so you could put Insight on the Act 1 Mercenary. I don't know how I feel about that. It's interesting, but okay. Insight is a popular rune word, and we feel that allowing it on ranged weapons will promote more build possibilities, and that Complement the skill and mercenary changes seen above. Just bows, though. Just bows to only help out the Act 1 mercenary. If you're going to change something like that, I don't know. I don't know. That's interesting, but just interesting. Here we got the new Rune Words. These have all already been announced here, so I don't think I'm going to go over all this stuff. These have all already been announced and looked at, so we'll just scroll real quick. This should all already be known stuff. I guess it is official. If we didn't know any of the ranges here, you can see what they are now. So, well, I'll just scroll real quick here. So if we didn't know any ranges, it's going to roll 1 to 2 on stuff like that. But we're not going to go, because for the most part, these have all been announced. Obsession. I did not see anything about Obsession. So that's interesting. Here's that Wisdom Rune Word. Pull Ith Eld. So this is the one with Pierce, Mana Leech, cannot be frozen, which would be interesting for like a Barbarian, I suppose. But Obsession, here's a staff-only rune word with a Zod in it. Wow. So indestructible, I mean, because it has a Zod, I guess that's, but 24% chance to cast level 10 weaken when struck, 4 to all skills, 65 cast rate, hit recovery, knockback, who cares on that one? It's got the Nef, so Vitality, Energy, Max Life from 15 to 25, Regenerate Mana, 60 to 70 All Res, Gold Find, and Magic Find. For a Zod rune and an Ist, essentially, and a few mids and lows. To cast Weaken when struck. Okay, 4 to skills. That's close, I guess. This is interesting. It's got a little bit of Magic Find. It's got a bunch of all res. So this essentially looks like almost a Hoto and Spirit combined is essentially what this rune word looks like. Because you know, the Hoto got 30 to 40 res, and then you got 35 to the resistances, except for fire on the Spirit. So that would come out to, you know, do the math depending on what you got, 65 to 70 something. The 4 to all skills, I mean, the Hoto has 3, the Spirit has 2, so this is 4. You know, the cast rate, the skills is a little bit less. The hit recovery is actually 60, which is exactly at the break point for a Sorceress. So it is essentially, I mean, it's usable. I mean, the thing with staffs, though, also, this is what is actually pretty cool, because like I was saying with a lot of stuff I was talking about on stream, you can find staffs with, maybe you find this staff right here with +3 to Fireball, +3 to Hydra, and then you got this. So that's like, that's going to be kind of better than the Hoto Spirit setup for your Sorcerers, or the Oculus Spirit setup for whatever you want to do there, because you're getting even more to those skills. So staff, 6-socketed staff bases that have good skills on it might become a valuable item after this patch comes out. So that's interesting. I do like that. I like these ones that can be made in like class specific items, because then the rune word isn't the thing of value. It's the rune word with the base, which makes these rune words really incredibly hard to make absolutely godly, but you can. Let's keep going down here, see what else there is. Flickering Flame is known. Mist was known. So it's just that one that I didn't hear of, Obsession. That is interesting. I did not hear anything about this rune word. So that is incredibly interesting to me. So the new Harodrick cube recipes, this one I was very interested about. So set items, set items, set items, set items. So you can now upgrade set items. So that's the new Harodrick cube recipes that we're talking about right there. That's going to be interesting how that ends up being helping out characters. It's hard for me to really wrap my head around, you know, not memorizing every single set piece. So set item bonus changes. Arcanes now gets a little bit of a boost. These are full set gets a +1 to all skills. A lot of these lower level ones aren't going to be a huge change, but yeah, 6 to 14 to 2 to 198. So that's pretty wild. I guess they're assuming that if you're using the whole set, it's going to be a little bit later than normal. So you're getting a huge boost. Like, I don't remember the set, the level requirement on all the sets, but the Arctic gear is a low level set. So you're going to be popping off up to 200 damage, cold damage. So +2 per level, maximum cold damage. Ooh, wow. That's very interesting. So These could be like leveling sets that you give to your other character after you already played through the game. Bokatho sets getting a little boost, added Deadly Strike for a full set, Life Leech for a full set, defense and fire damage increase for the full set, boost for the Bokatho's. Probably still not going to be used there. That's not really a whole lot. Cathin's getting regenerate mana for 2 items. Interesting. Okay. So I guess you could throw on, what, two Cathin's rings, call it a day on that one? No, I don't know, but a lot of these lower level stuff, I'm just going to scroll over this stuff because there's not a ton, there's not a big boost to any of this lower level stuff here. Nadges. Maybe we'll look at this one real quick. It gets 148, so 100, or a point and a half for 2 items. Okay. Interesting. So I don't know what 2 Nagel items you could throw on to get that. Maybe you would use like the staff and the helm or something, the circlet or something. I'm not really sure, but the full set gets a boost here. 2 to fire skills for the full set. Okay, that's interesting. So maybe something you could use for a fire source. It's hard to say. Poison length reduced, 1 to all skills. Sazabi's added damage, so 16 damage reduction for the full set. Not a whole bunch there. I did always like that set, but it's not quite there. So just a little bit there. The area changes. So here we go. It's going to tell us right now. Players now must smash the completing orb to enter the Durance of Hate instead of killing the council. This means that Kleem's Wheel quest will need to be completed to use the Durance of Hate level 2 waypoint. So that's, I guess you could say it's kind of disappointing, but they want you to play through the game. I get it. So monster levels in the following areas have been increased for Hell difficulty. So here we go. We got previously, these are all ones that were boosted up from lower level areas to 85 areas. So Underground Passage level 2. That one's too far away to really farm. Stony Tombs are interesting because it's the same thing they did with Project Diablo 2. There's almost no fire immunes down there. So as long as it's the same, I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure it would be, that there's going to be no fire immunes down there. So that Fire Druid can wreck down there. Fire Sorceress can wreck down there. Here's one, Arachnid's Lair. I believe that one is directly next to a waypoint, so maybe that's interesting that you could farm there, right, if I'm not mistaken. The Swampy Pit, level 1, 2, and 3 have all been bumped up to 85. Disused Fane and the Ruined Temple and the Forgotten Reliquary, all boosted up to level 85. So that would be those temples when you're trying to look for the Lament to get that one quest that you need in Act 3 to get extra life. All those different tombs, or all those different, what do you call them, temples or whatever you call them, all are up to 85. The Act 3, the level 1 sewer. So that whole sewer area underneath of Lower Kuras and Kuras and stuff is all a level 85 area. Okay, that's a pretty big area. So that might be a farming spot now, and it's impossible to not find it. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know about how the synergies work down there. The Act 5 Abandon and Pit of Anarchy and Infernal Pits. So that is all of those red portals. That's the same as Project Diablo 2, what they're doing right there. The Drifter Cavern went from 84 to 85. So that makes the Drifter Cavern even better. And I think there's very little to no fire immunes down in the Icy Cellar and the Drifter Cavern. Could be wrong on that, not 100% positive. Maybe it was the Drifter Cavern that has almost no fire immunes. But the Icy Cellar is now 85 area as well. So general gameplay changes. Character hit block will no longer apply while your character is playing a skill precast animation. Okay. Character hit recovery will now have diminishing return when being hit by another player. So that would go towards some PvP change that I'm not 100% sure on. Tooltip changes. It actually says the percent for piercing attack instead of just saying piercing attack. So there's some stuff here. I'm not going to read over all these, but there's just some tooltip changes. Essentially, this percent chance of crushing blow, percent chance of crushing blow. So the change and it's the same now. I don't know what that is for. Maybe maybe they just put everything in there, you could say, but. So how to participate and thanking the community. So this is a long one, fellas. It's a long one. But I wanted to go over everything here. It's super exciting. That was my first look. Haven't really had a full chance to comprehend. We'll go ahead and scroll up. I'll just scroll over some of the stuff real quick. There's so much. Look at this. Look how fast we're going. Look how long this is. There's so much stuff in this patch. It is pretty crazy. But hey, it's going to be exciting. Look, I'm going to see you online on this PTR on Tuesday. It's going to be fun. So hey, hit that like button, subscribe up for me so you never miss any of the future videos. Peace out and keep slaying.